Another tool we'll use are called regression trend channels. And regression trend channels are price channels that provide a median line based on the price closes of the current cycle, along with an upper line and a lower channel line that can provide support and resistance when price deviates to those extreme levels. The median line is a simple linear regression based on price closes of the current cycle and stays in place until a new extreme is made. And we'll show an example of what we do when the new extreme is made here in just a moment when we look at the price charts. We will use regression trend channels from time to time to assist in determining if a cycle has ended or to use in confluence with other factors for support and resistance. Now let's go ahead and take a look at a regression trend channel on a price chart. Here we have the Euro-dollar, Australian dollar currency pair, and this is a daily chart. And you're going to see the important thing to remember about these channels, just like we look at trend lines, they're going to be used to isolate potential zones of support and resistance. All right, so the first thing I would do is I have a three-wave cycle here. Okay, so I'm going to start with measuring that. And here's our regression trend channel tool. And by the way, the settings that we use are just the standard 2 deviation. And I'll show you what that looks like here when I click into the settings. So the inputs, we're going to use the upper deviation of 2 and the lower deviation of -2. Okay, if you adjust these to 3, the channel will get wider. You can see the channel will get wider on each side if you want to play with those settings. I just use the 2 standard deviation, which is pretty typical. Okay, so anyway, let's get back to what we're looking at the price chart. So this is the low, and you can see how it projects this channel out into the future right now. And price pulled back right in here, tested the top, and made a new low. So now what we need to do is adjust this point to that new low. Again, the channel adjusts. Remember, it's giving us a median line of the close prices. So new extremes, we need to make those adjustments. Price pulled back, made a new extreme. So we'll continue here to adjust with the market. Again, pulled back, made a new extreme. We'll adjust it with that extreme. Again, pulled back, found resistance around the top of the channel. And just as an example, let me use a Fibonacci retracement here. And as it pulled back to the top of that channel, look at the 62% fib. Can you see the 62% fib on this particular swing? I know it's a little bit small here. Let me see if I can blow this up so we can see it better. Oops. Here we go. 62% fib lined up very well at the top of that channel. Price continued to the downside to a new extreme. Okay, now I'm going to back out here so we can see this again. And I'm just going to get rid of that fib to keep things clear. Once we made the new extreme, we'll adjust this to the new low. And now you can see when we came up to test the top of this channel again, we found some resistance, but now price has broken through it and traded outside, well outside of the channel. Okay, so we would consider this cycle as complete at this point. Look for it to retrace initially 38% and potentially deeper. And obviously we can see this retraced well deeper than the 38%, retraced through the 62% fib. Another thing to take note of here, and I know I'm jumping ahead just a little bit here when I do this, but after this three-wave cycle, I'm going to use our Fibonacci projection or expansion tool. I'm going to measure it from that low to that high, and this is something we're going to use a lot. Okay, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but when I see examples of this, I just can't help but to show them. We had this next cycle move equal legs, so we were already looking for this area to be a potential price target of this decline. The other thing we see here is divergence between the swings. Look at price moving lower here through this entire cycle, MACD cycling higher here through the entire cycle. Okay, so we had MACD bullish divergence, a price cycle moving into equal legs, and then we had a break of the regression trend channel and price trading well outside of it, looking for this correction. And as we progress through the course here, you'll see that equal legs and 127% zone very key, very important zone when we're looking at these price targets for the cycles. And then anything that extends to the 162% has a bit of a different meaning. Even on this price cycle here, we can see that this ended equal legs to 127. We'll just measure that out here from our high to our low. All right, equal legs 127% zone. That's where we turned and continued with the larger decline. Okay, so anyway, regression trend channels, that's the way we'll basically use regression trend channels here. Let me just get rid of these lines so we can continue and look at some other examples here. Okay, another way to use trend channels, and I'll often see some of our members do it this way, when they're looking to label this is an ABC, they'll actually use the regression trend channel tool to see where the cycle ended. So they use this to label it as an A, then a B, then they look for this label as a C on that rally. And then finally, if you're in an overall downtrend here, you can also use it to give you an idea of when cycles end for entries. So if we were to take this entire cycle right here, we know we're in a larger downtrend. We're looking at this as a corrective setback. You can look at this as the exit from that cycle. You can see we pulled back, corrected near the bottom of the channel here again, and this was also a good retracement level here of this pair. But we saw that that cycle ended, price retraced 62%, had the reaction, and down we went. Okay, folks, but we can't make this stuff up, and we're going to show you so many examples in this course that if you're not convinced by the end of this course, then you must have come in without an objective mindset, because we're going to show you so many examples of price moving in these patterns that we're going to show you that there's just no denying it. And you'll see here, for the most part, I'm just pulling up charts. I'm just switching it up a little bit here, like the Euro Aussie, so we're not just looking at the Euro dollar all the time. I'm trying to switch it up just to show you it works across the market. But you'll see I'm using recent charts. This is a current chart right now of the Euro Aussie dollar. I mean, this is this most recent candle you see here is right now. Okay, so I'm not going back through these charts to find these examples, and I didn't, I'm recording this course, but I didn't set up these charts prior to recording the course here, because I know I can go right to any chart. I can go right to any chart and find plenty of examples, because these are things that we see on a day-to-day basis. It was funny, a trader buddy of mine actually said that. He said, well, while you're making your PowerPoints and making this course, where are all your charts? He was looking at it, looking at what I had set up. He's like, well, where are your chart examples? And I said, I'm just going to show my chart examples as we go. There's so many examples, I can just use live charts. I don't need to, go back in time and find, the perfect setups for these. And plus, I want to show you these things in a live market. I don't want to go back and look for the perfect setup every time. Okay, we want to see how these things work in the real world. Okay, not the perfect classroom examples. Perfect classroom examples, it's fine for education, not great for trading. You want to see how these are applied in the live, real market, and that's what's going to help your trading. Otherwise, you're going to be looking for the wrong things. You're going to look for these perfect, picture-perfect setups all the time. That's just not how trading is. Okay, so anyway, I digress. Regression trend channels, that's how we'll use them. You'll get a lot more examples as we continue, especially in the follow-up service after you take the course.